Hello and welcome to the Prime Reckoning. I'm Julie and this is a channel for women over 50. Today I just wanted to share a little bit of my story with you guys and kind of explain how I ended up here with you. So I had a full career. I went to school for I got a bachelor's and a master's degree in my chosen field, and I went to work and had a career for 35 years. And at the beginning of my career, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the work I was doing. I made a lot of friends. I hung out with my work friends. I worked really unusual schedule, strange hours, and strange days off. But in the beginning, my friend group and my work group were kind of all the same people. So we all hung out together. I was a first responder of sorts, although I was not a firefighter or police officer. I did work with a lot of firefighters and police officers, and have a lot of those friends still today. And my job required a real mental toughness. I saw some horrific things in my time at work, although say it didn't bother me is not really the truth, but that was not a reason that I decided to leave that career. But it was definitely unique. Every day was different. I never knew at the beginning of every day what I was walking into, and had some real surprises. So it was an interesting career for a long time. I worked hard in a very male-dominated industry to work my way near the top, which I did. But in the last 8 years or so, I was working for a city government. And working for the city government was very difficult and frustrating. Those of you who work government jobs, I think, will know what I'm talking about. It seemed to me that a lot of the people weren't doing their jobs, and I would get so frustrated with the folks that weren't doing their jobs and making my life more difficult. I was just so frustrated having to deal with people like that every day. And just no accountability at all. Like I said, the people that worked the least seemed to get promoted the most. So it was absolutely crazy, and I know that my experience is not unique. Like I said, I worked unusual shifts. I am not a morning person. I've never been a morning person. So the last couple of years in my career, I chose to work a second shift. It ended up being a second-third split. So I would work. If you're not familiar how the shifts work, the second shift is the afternoon, and then the third shift is the midnight shift. So in the last few years, I worked a split of those shifts, and then back through my career, I worked a number of day shifts too, depending on what I did and where I was and kind of what I was in the mood for at the time. But again, in these last 8 years, I was not able to get a decent shift, even though I was second in my seniority in my department. I just kept being stuck on these horrible shifts. I had Tuesday and Wednesday off. Like I said, I worked second and third shifts, so that meant I worked every Friday night, every Saturday night, and every Sunday night. So, and I mentioned earlier that my friend group and my work group had been the same prior to moving to where I am now. That was true, but where I am now, that was not true. I also experienced a major life change about 3 years ago. Um, I'm not going to get into the details of that. It's really personal and something that I don't want to share on here, but really changed the way that I looked at the world, and also came with an entirely new friend group, which was great, except for the fact that every single weekend and every single month I had to turn down not just some invitations to do things, but every single invitation to do everything that I was invited to. You know, people were saying, Julie, come do this with us, come do that with us, and unless I was on vacation, I had to say no to absolutely everything. So I had no social life at all, and this new perspective on life, and I wanted to get out. I wanted to be with my new friends. And then I hit menopause. And I don't know how much of this was the menopause, but like I said, I had no tolerance for a lot of my coworkers. I had a toxic boss as well. Was struggling, and like I said, I had climbed my way to the top of this ladder. I had taken back steps in the past to do jobs that I enjoyed more, but I really didn't want to step back again, and I didn't want to move to a new city again, which I have done numerous times over my career. I've moved something like 27 times in my life, which is insane. And again, the moves didn't used to bother me, but now I'm older. I have my house. I have it decorated the way I want. I put a lot of sweat equity into this house. I painted everything, including the ceilings. I had some really nice wood floors put in, and this is my home, and I didn't want to leave it. This is the first home that I've had on my own. I was married for 18 years, and that's a story for another day, because that's a long story as well. I got divorced in 2013, and am really happy with that choice that I made. And like I said, this is my home, and I really love it, and I don't want to leave. So I decided to just step away from my career, from my job. I wasn't enjoying it anymore, and I wanted to have a social life. So with no real plans for what I was going to do next, I just walked away from my job, y'all. I quit. I gave them several months notice. But I just walked away. And then I decided I was going to take a break for several months and just not do anything. Well, several months turned into several more months. And then turned into a year and a half. And during this time, I was looking for another job. I worked with a career counselor and was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I applied for numerous jobs in different fields where I could have a life. But kind of all of the 9-to-5 jobs just really didn't make my soul sing. And getting back into something that I could potentially love doing for, working for someone else would mean that I was working some weekends, some evenings, and some holidays, and I was back to kind of where I started before. And I just didn't want to do that. So I decided that I was going to work for myself and start doing content creation, and also selling some items. I am in the process of forming a couple of Etsy stores to sell some items that I make. So, so yeah, we're giving that a try. So here I am. This is why I'm here today. So yeah, so that's my story, and that is the reason that I'm here with all of you. So I would love to hear your stories. If you'd like to drop them in the comments below, if you'd like to come on and share your stories, I would love to have some guests on the channel at some point. So hopefully things will work out, and I'll be able to earn a living doing this. So let's move along to the products for today. We're going to talk about lip care. So I have always had really dry lips and always had trouble with my lips. I have trouble wearing lipstick. And honestly, for the first probably 45 years of my life, well, when I was really young, my mother would hand me a chapstick, and that was like the only option in the 70s, y'all. And chapstick is wax. I love those old chapstick commercials. Remember those where they lit the top of the chapstick and said wax is for candles? But it was actually a commercial for Vaseline lip therapy. They said wax is for candles, Vaseline lip therapy is for lips. I thought that was so funny, and I always hated chapstick. It never did anything. It just leaves this waxy, nasty coat on your lips. It was gross. So I started using Vaseline on my lips, I think when I became an adult, and used Vaseline on my lips up until about maybe 10 years ago. Maybe even less than that, y'all. And it's great for chap stuff, but you know, it's petroleum. It's not great for you. And putting it on your lips, you know, anything you put ends up in your body. It soaks through, and on your lips especially, it winds up in your mouth and everything. So not great. So I went through just recently. I was trying to find some more natural options. I went through a number of options, and then I finally settled on this. It's Organic Lip Balm by Beauty by Earth is the name of the company. And I absolutely love this stuff. Number one, it comes in vanilla, scented, and flavored. And y'all, this smells amazing. There are different scents. They have berry and tea tree and honey, which I can't stand honey, but I know people like honey. But it has some great scents and flavors, and it's not really flavored, but you know, but I think it also comes in an unscented option if you prefer that as well. But this particular one is a little bit more, I'd say, greasy, not waxy. There are different, you know, lip balms are kind of on a spectrum. At one end, there's the waxy, and the other end, there's the greasy. This one is more greasy, and I like that feel personally. So if you're a greasy girly like me, you may want to give this one a try. So this is great. I'll link it below. It's what I love. It's what I use every day on my lips. And then at night, during the wintertime especially, but now kind of all the time since I've gone through menopause, I notice at night my lips really, really dry out a lot. So I started putting a lip mask on them at night. And it's just thicker. You just kind of slather it on at night and go to sleep, and overnight it soaks into your lips, and you wake up and you have these wonderful soft lips in the morning. But this one is Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. There are actually a couple of these that I've tried that I like. They're kind of similar, but this is the one that I'm going with currently. Really like this one. I don't think it says vanilla scented, but I don't think this has much of a scent to it. No, it kind of smells like Vaseline, frankly. But it's not. I checked the ingredients. There's no petroleum jelly in here. So I put this on before I go to sleep at night, and it keeps my lips from drying out too badly. So So that is everything I have for you today. Like I said, as usual, I will link the products below. Please like and subscribe and comment on this video what you would like to see in the future and what are your favorite lip products to use. I'll see everybody next time. Bye.